This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
I'm Billy.
And I'm Ryn.
And Ryn, how long have you been awake now?
I mean, I don't know. This is normal for me. It's okay.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
more concerned that I have to go to work tomorrow a lot earlier than I'm normal used to.
Well, in that case, we'll make this one. We'll try to make this one quick, but also efficient.
I mean, no, it's okay. If I went to bed right at 12 o'clock, I'd have 9 hours of sleep, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. So you're still good.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm about to stay up 3 more hours after that and play Fire Emblem 3 Houses because that's how much she loves that game.
Because it's my favorite game.
It is, yeah. So today is Friendly Friday, and I got 2 friends on here with me. I hope they're my friends. They're not my adversaries or anything, but.
Opinion on this.
So Billy and Ryn are my guests today, and Billy's usually a co-host when Will's not here. So, as always, he's filling in again. Say hi to Billy, everybody, the live audience that's not there. Woo! I don't know.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll edit in some audience effects of people just cheering for Billy. I don't know. That'd be fun. I don't know. I'm not fun like that though, so we'll see. Ryn, what do you do on your channel?
I do lots of random stuff, but typically goes between art and video games. And then I also have tea times, which is art, but yeah. And then I stream on Tuesdays and Sundays. And that's it. Pretty much.
She's pretty active in her community tab, so if you want to know what she's up to, this is a good place to go. Yeah. Mecca's still live?
It's a 24-hour stream. He's trying
Holy cow.
He's trying to beat the entire FE6.
Holy cow. In 24 hours?
Yeah.
Is that actually doable? Oh yeah, he's almost there. All right. I'm just going to say go Mecca real quick in the chat. Why not? This is relevant, right?
He needs to read his chat more often, I feel like.
Yeah, probably.
If you don't have a blue little mark next to your chat, Mecca's just like, alrighty.
He's read some of mine before, actually. Not very often, but he has. All right, anyways. Back to what we're doing today. Go Mecca.
On screen right now.
I'm gonna tag him in this video and be like, hey, we crashed your 24-hour stream in our video. All right, anyways, so definitely go to youtube.com/ryn and hit that subscribe button and make sure you just click on her videos and roll through the playlist. Just give her all the watch time you can. Every 3-hour video.
3 hours plus.
Exactly.
6 hours of my charity stream.
And definitely check out this great 28-second clip of her Minecraft IRL Ryncraft here. It's a great little video. I love it. Yeah, pretty much. And tune into the live streams, Apex Legends if you like that, or Outlast, or the occasional Dead Space thing that she might bring back. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah. Billy, what about you? What do you do? Besides make people angry about Cyberpunk and telling people to go buy it.
I make videos on games that I am very passionate about that I think people should play. I'm also working on a really big project right now where I'm trying to bring Dungeons and Dragons with friends live on YouTube, which will be really cool. That won't be on VISNAWesome, but it'll be on a brand new channel that I start. But yeah, I make videos about, and that right there, what you're looking at, I made that, so it's cool.
Yeah, this should definitely just be like your personal channel going forward, Billy. Just do whatever you want on there. It's just fun stuff.
I haven't figured it out. One of these days I'll get there.
But yeah, go subscribe to both these people, the lovely gentleman, lovely lady at the bottom here. And after you're done doing that, you can watch the rest of this video. So for Friendly Friday, the question is, because I'm losing my mind here, guys, why did Fire Emblem 3 Houses sell so well? That's part 1 of the question. And how can Nintendo continue to be successful going forward with the series? Ryn, you want to jump in there first, or should I let
Billy? So I can answer A and B. Waifus and waifus. Waifus saved the game in Awakening, and waifus have continued to save the game. You're able to marry people off, and I honestly think that's a big part of the reason why 3 Houses is so popular. I also think that 3 Houses was so popular because if you look at the initial trailer, they show off characters that they know people are going to be interested in, aka Edelgard, who is not really the main character of 3 Houses, or one of them. And because of this, I think this is why 3 Houses sold that well. Now, that being said, I think it should sell well. I think it's a good game. I just think it could have been a lot like I think it definitely should have been polished a lot better, and I think it should have been delayed a little bit longer. Especially considering the trailers. I mean, look at that. That's the first thing you see is basically two hot bitches. Look how attractive she is.
Ryn, I love your take on this. This is my favorite. Like,
well, I don't know. I was so happy with Three Houses the first time I played it. I played Blue Lion's route, and I put like 80 plus hours into that game. And then I played it again, and I was like, man, this just doesn't have the same feel as it does before, you know? Like, I don't think you should be able to recruit every single character because it kind of ruins, like, the spoils. Like, to me, if being able to recruit every character kind of makes it worse. Like, part of the reason why killing your students is sad is because you're killing your students. But if you recruit every single character, you can't do that. I think some like more than just one character per house, basically, should be non-recruitable. Except for if you're Claude, you can just leave Claude alone. You can recruit everybody in his house. It's just so sad.
Fair enough. I will say this. I don't know anybody that's actually played every route of this game personally in my own life offline, besides Billy. Which I didn't know until now that Billy had played all the routes of this game. But everybody else I've talked to has pretty much failed out after two. Like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't need to do the third one.
You could play one in, like, one house in particular you could play and just get all of the story.
New Game Plus just makes it a lot easier to just play all, like, skip basically everything.
Fair enough. A lot of people that I've talked to, they're like, they didn't even bother playing the other routes. They just played the first one. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I played Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I'm like, that's not even the same game.
It's not.
So I can tell you this: a lot of people are playing this for the social sim aspects of it versus like previous Fire Emblem games where you were playing for the combat and the strategy. So I do think that has made a huge impact to the franchise as a whole. And I don't know how you come back from that and make a game that's not based around this. Like, for example, if they did an FE6, FE7, I think they're going to have to add something along the lines of you can put Hector and Lynn together and that's how you get what's-her-face. What brain's not working. Lilina. I was going to say Lillian. I was like, that ain't right. And like maybe you get to pair off Elowood to somebody and that's how you get Roy. You know, like I think they're going to have to do something like that. And probably Ninian is probably who they'd pair off Elowood, like the canon wise, but who knows what they would actually choose. But imagine you pair off Elowood to somebody else and you don't get Roy from that. What would you?
I think another portion of this is because when this game came out, Persona 5 was ridiculously popular.
Mm-hmm.
And this game, with the monastery portions of it, made it feel like a Persona 5 type game. In reality, it's like C-rate Persona 5, the monastery portions are. But that's another reason why I think people bought it. I think the people who were really into Persona bought this, and the Persona fandom, especially Persona 5, is huge right now.
I think Persona 5 is like the worst of the modern Persona games. Personally.
I was waiting.
I think I get annoyed when people make that argument, or like when people say that, because you can, like, yeah, like, okay, BioShock 2 is worse than BioShock 1, but it's still a good game, you know?
Oh, no,
like,
no, Persona 5 is good.
Game.
So, I don't know, it's hard to explain my love-hate relationship with Persona 5. Like, I like a lot of what they did, but I feel like it's very shallow. Does that make sense? Are you nodding your head? You like froze. Uh-oh. I think
I can hear you.
Oh, you're back. You're back. You were roboting for a second. And I think we're roboting again. Billy, are you there? Okay, I can hear Billy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so until Ryn stops roboting, we'll figure this out.
Okay. We can restart the call.
What was that?
I said we can restart the call.
Oh, no, you're good.
I'm kind of normal now, though.
You're back. You're back. We're good.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Like, I can tell you this. We have a lot more issues when we tried Discord with this exact same issue. And I don't know if that's a Discord-specific issue or what, but every once in a while somebody robots on us, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm saying a lot. This doesn't happen very often. This is bad for me. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I say it all the time.
So Persona 5, the reason it just feels kind of shallow compared to the games because the storyline built the character relationships up better in like 3, for example, where like none of the characters were like chummy or friendly in the beginning of the game, and then by the end, like it made sense why they were all a group that was grouped together due to the apocalyptic nature of the game, versus like Persona 5, where yeah, they kind of chum up throughout the dungeons and the gameplay, but you don't really build that relationship outside of the social links, which now are called, for some reason, I still don't like the way they renamed it. I'm trying to think of what they call them. Confidants, the confidants thing.
Oh yeah.
The word social link makes so much more sense, but I'm sure it's just not as a marketable of a term as confidants, and it fit the prison aspect of it, so I don't know.
Oh, it sounds cooler.
But I did feel like it was a little more manufactured, and if you've played 3, 4, and 5 like I have, you can see the evolution of the particular character traits in each of the characters from 3, 4, and 5, and it does feel like you just throw a couple of the characters in a blender and you get the new character in 5, and it's like, oh, okay. So unless you have that background and play 3 and 4 and 5, you might really enjoy 5 and not see all of the carryover from the previous 2 games. So Three Houses kind of has its own thing. It's got its own game. It doesn't have that build up from 3, 4, and 5 into the Persona series, but it did capitalize hard on what Persona 5 was doing. I will agree with you there. You can really see the influence.
There's like, in terms of that, Fire Emblem is so bad about this. There's definitely like a little blender that they've thrown like an archetype into, and then they spit it out, and that archetype is just basically like Ephraim and Dimitri are pretty similar, to be honest, especially in terms of how they handle battle. Dimitri has like that whole like I'm depressed, oh no kind of moment with him, but like Edelgard, she's not honestly the best character. She's kind of like just a strong female character. She doesn't have much more of a personality past that. Claude just very scheme-like. He kind of reminds me of Niles, to be honest, just in my opinion more attractive, but that's an objective opinion. I don't know. Like there's definitely like, I mean, and that's a problem with any Fire Emblem game. A big problem with like this game in particular, and Fates and Awakening, is that all of the characters are very like gimmicky. Like Lysithea, she's like, I'm young, but I like sweets, and I'm kind of about to die. And those are her 3 personality traits that she mentions in basically every single support she has with everybody. Raphael's just, I'm big and strong, and I like food. Marianne's like, don't go near me, I'm bad luck because I can turn into a monster, you know? Like, that's just, there's 1 personality trait per character per support, and it's really annoying. And I mean, that's just something that's been a problem throughout the series so far, because it had the same thing with Fates, and the same thing with Awakening happened.
See, I like it when they have a varied support conversation, and very few characters get the variable support conversations.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times you only get it with like the main character and all the different supports. And
we're lucky.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We're lucky here that we have 4 main characters that are written decently well. More so 3, because Violet is just kind of there. That's another thing that annoys me about this game, is that Violet is so important to the main story, but they're so stoic. And I get the reason is more like a story reason, but it's still just kind of annoying. Like, I'm very tired of having avatar characters in Fire Emblem that are just literally the main story, like just revolves around them. It happened in Fates, really in Fates. It happened in Awakening, and it happened in Three Houses. And I think it really fails to have that kind of development happen, because it kind of makes the rest of the characters just heavily depend on that main character, and it really drags everybody else down.
That's a great point, because like that might be one of the biggest reasons why I love Fire Emblem 7. Is because you are in the game, but you oftentimes just forget you're even in the game as the tactician until they like personally call you out and say, hey, good job, you know, you really let us into a victory here.
I feel like Fire Emblem 7 just kind of forgets that it has an avatar every now and then. I don't mind there being a play.
Whoops. I think I just kicked her instead of...
All right, you didn't like the opinion that much.
Whoops.
I feel you. Jeez.
Oh my god.
Hi.
He was so mad at what you said, Ryn. He kicked
I
you
know.
directly out.
I get this huge
I
like,
can't believe that happened.
I call from Chris, and I was like, eh.
I was trying to hit the fit. Here, I'll show you. You can see it on the screen. I was trying to hit the fit and crop video, and I went up one and hit remove from call.
Okay, so I was on Mecha's stream earlier, and right as I was like, hey, I need, like, I'll be right back, I'm just gonna go grab something to drink. Right as I left, the stream just died.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
the whole thing, like, Mecha just lost connect. And it's like, I'm, like, quite serious right as I left, and it was really funny.
Oh my gosh. He's probably like, you have plagued my stream.
He just doesn't realize the power I hold.
All right. Well, anyways, the stream didn't die, or the recording didn't die, thankfully. So we just have a
Yeah.
blooper in the middle of the podcast. You were saying Fire Emblem 7 forgets it has a avatar in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. Like, there'll be so many chapters just in a row where it just doesn't mention Mark or whatever. Like, I don't mind there being, like, a player avatar.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah, right? I think New Mystery of the Emblem actually handles Chris very well. I think he should have went into the game, but I don't think he's, like, he's just not a major character in the game, and that's what I like in a Fire Emblem game. I don't want them to be major characters.
Yeah, like, just kind of being there makes sense. Because, for example, you're not royal. If you're not royalty, like, does anybody really care that you're there? Like, you're just kind of part of the story, but you're not part of the story. The royalty is the part that they care about, except for in Path of Radiance, but that's totally different.
In FE6 has a manga, and it makes me really sad because it's not even about Roy. It's about some blue-haired kid. Like, they were like, I'm mad. The main writers were like, I'm mad that we don't have a Fire Emblem lord with blue hair, so I'm just gonna write one in. And I read it and I was like, this is so sad. Who is this guy? I don't care about him. Where's Roy at?
Right. Yeah, like, if you're just one of the troops following the main character and you get to feel the story from that perspective, I think that almost makes a more compelling story, because you're there, but you're not really part of the story, but you're still experiencing it.
Like, you still have supports with characters, but you're not, like, the story doesn't revolve around you, and it shouldn't. It should revolve around your lord.
Although, given the quote-unquote waifu simulator that you mentioned earlier, there's a good chance you would wind up, having a chance to marry off to one of the royalty people, and then you would be a major part of the story. Who knows?
I mean, that's just after the game. You don't get married until after the game in some cases, unless it's Baby Simulator, which Fates and Awakening is.
Which I have a feeling FE6 to FE7, if they did that, we'd be probably seeing Baby Simulator.
If they did that, I'm hoping they do FE4, where the first portion is Gen 1 and then the second portion is Gen 2. Because FE4 handled that very, very well, in my opinion. Minus all the incest we don't talk about.
I was going to say, I think there's some glaring issues in the FE4 storyline that may not get into the final remake that I would be worried would impact the story too much.
Well, most of it is because, hey, you have 12 people who are all descendants from, or you have multiple people who are all descendants from 12 original people. Like, no matter what you're going to look at it, if you're trying to, go for optimal pairings, you're going to run into some incest. And, I don't know how to put it in a...
You're sounding like a Lannister over there,
I mean... Or then you have, Lechestus and Eldegan, who are just an entirely different story.
I guess the other thing that I thought when I was playing Fates and I didn't know all the final parts of the game, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're having him date all of his sisters, and when I was like, oh my gosh, this is just weird, and then you find out the spoilers that I'm not going to mention, and you're like, oh, but then how come I can still date Azura? That's really weird.
Well, because she is, she's just straight up your cousin.
Yeah, I know.
Azura is just your cousin. And, even then, you grow with, okay, the only thing I can understand is maybe the Hoshidans, because you didn't grow up with them being your family, but with, the Norians, you grow up with them being your family. They are your brother and sisters, all throughout your entire life, and then all of a sudden you can date them. I don't know. Not in Xander's. In Ryoma's, as support, basically he pulls a letter out of his pocket and he's like, oh yeah, we're not related. It says so on this letter. Let's bang. And that's I wish I was any less serious. That's basically what Fates, what his S support with Corrin is.
I do find it funny that in the almost all the S supports, it gets kind of intimate, and it's So you go CBAS. So what's the S stand for, huh, Nintendo?
I don't know. This is also coming from a game where in the Japanese version you could blow to dry your characters off or to cool them down from being in the hot spring.
Oh, I forgot about I was gonna say they have that weird interaction in just walking into the house.
Yeah, if you go to your treehouse and you're like in your husband or wife are in the shower, they can come out and they're like, "I need you to blow me off," and you just blow into the microphone on the 3DS. But they took it out of the American version.
No, they literally have a similar thing in the American, at least the version.
Yeah, they have something similar.
And I just feel just so weird when that request comes on screen. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna skip that. You know?
Blow off your waifu.
It's like, no, I'm okay. I didn't even realize like when you did the supports. I thought I was on the A support with the character I was doing the support conversations with, and then I realized, oh, that was the S support. I'm locked in for the rest of the game now. I was like, oh, okay.
I guess Camilla's my waifu. Yay.
I'm trying to remember what the person was. It starts with an R.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of like a girl character. Like, it's not Felicia.
No, she's like the really muscular one.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. She's from Hoshida. I know who you're talking about. I don't remember her name, though. It's not...
Rinka.
Oh, yeah. She just recently got added in Heroes.
Yeah, I wound up with her. She's, like, more ripped than my character is.
Yeah.
But it was just because I didn't realize I was on the S support. I was like, oh, I guess I'm locked in now. So, yeah, I think that the simulator aspects, the social sims, probably are here to stay. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. So any new Fire Emblem game is going to have that. I do think that they swung a little hard into it and then kind of backed off midway through Three Houses, which was kind of weird. It's like, okay, we're going to swing hard into this, and then, okay, never mind, after the school's over. Never mind. And then, so I wonder going forward if they would have, like, more of that social sim aspect in, like, the traveling of the battles and stuff like that. What do you guys think?
Billy, you haven't said much. You can go forward.
Listen, y'all taking swipes at Three Houses, but
Billy's about to come in swinging.
Listen, either side is gonna fight me, but I mean, just going back for 2 seconds, I'm gonna address it. The social sim problem. I agree wholeheartely. I agree that they kind of went into it and they kind of made it seem like it was going to be like a lot more character depth, I guess. And it kind of does suck that they like narrowed it down to like focusing in on one aspect of that character, like especially with Lysithea is a really good example. But I think if Nintendo didn't do like this whole like rinse and repeat process of like making every character like that and maybe like cutting down the class size into being like more manageable so you could have these more like one-on-one conversations, I really, there's a difference, right? So you're playing a game like Fire Emblem and you could easily compare it to another like I'm so sorry I'm avoiding your question, Chris, but you can easily jump over into like comparing it to another game like I can't even think of one off the top of my head, like
Persona.
Yeah, kind of.
It's the easiest one to compare.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like nothing really defines it differently, like from being just like an isometric fighting like strategy game. I like that they added the social sim. I don't like that they aren't making it more in depth, and I don't mean like blowing on your character after the fight, right? But I mean more or less like getting to know that character, getting to understand like their develop like their emotions, like getting to understand like why they're being the way they are. Like it was a really big problem with like Edelgard. Like she had a reason to be upset with everything. I'm not going to spoil anything, but she had a reason to be upset, and then like there was like an obvious reason as to why she might have not been as upset or like as like more focused on not trying to just kill everybody. But like they miss these big things, and they miss these big moments that could develop the plot in a way that makes their like motives more real. And that's with all characters. And again, I think Nintendo really dropped the ball in that aspect. I really like the way they're going with it, but I think they're afraid to take that step further into making this like making it a really good strategy game, and then a really good game where you can develop relationships. And I don't mean relationships, I mean like friendships and like more defining bonds, kind of like what Chris was saying with like Persona 4 and Persona 3. Like, I think if they really put a foot in the right direction that way, I think it wouldn't even be like, oh, they're making a social sim and a strategy game. It's just a really good game, a really good crossable. But we won't see that because they reuse assets, and it's very obvious.
Well, I think a big part of it is like with Persona, like when you're thinking of like the social links, there's like maybe 12 characters, but with Fire Emblem, there's a big roster you have to deal with. Like in Three Houses alone, there's like maybe 30 characters within just the houses. If there's like 10 people in each house, and that's a lot to write for. Now it really just depends on whether they're willing to take that extra step to create unique and interesting dialogue between each characters. And that's another thing. Like with Persona, the social links are just between the main character and whoever else that is. But with Fire Emblem, they're creating different supports between like Annette and Mercedes, or like Lysithea, and then you have like, and that's another, like, this is where I can like applaud Three Houses, is that they actually do have supports between the houses. For instance, Lysithea and what's his name? He's the tired guy from Edelgard's from Black Eagles.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
No, not Lamart. I'm crazy. But you know who I'm talking about, like that guy, right? Like they have interesting support conversations, and it's quite literally the most interesting Lysithea support there is, in my opinion. And like it's
almost
just,
like that might be canon. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Canon parent, no.
But you have instances like that where it's like, oh, I can give you a plot, and it's just really, and that's why I say it was kind of like this game was rushed, because there are just supports that are just lackluster, and there are supports that are just disappointing, and some of the supports, like, they could be like super duper long, but really in reality you just kind of want to skip through it because they're not saying anything important. Bernadette is a very good like scenario of this. Every single one of her seed supports is just her like encountering somebody and then running away from said person. And then all of a sudden she goes to Byleth and she's like, my dad did all this awful crap to me, and she just says that out of nowhere, and you're like, okay,
I'm not your counselor. No.
Right? No. Like Byleth is like, okay, refer Bernadetta to counselor. Like,
no, man. Ryn, I think you nailed it. And I think the thing is like at least in my opinion, and this might differ from the two of you guys, but I really think those conversations between the two houses, or three houses, I'm sorry, were awesome. And I think it was a really cool thing to add in there. I think the one thing that really threw me for a spin though was like we almost didn't need as big, and I know it kind of goes with like obviously you have to have a class, you have to have a bigger class because there wouldn't be like two people in there. But I think taking on less of a roster and then focusing on like your core, not your core characters, but like a smaller group to be able to give them more variety, to be able to like really flesh out the conversations instead of making them like so two-dimensional, I think would have been a really cool step for them.
Yeah, I just think they need to like really like dedicate time. I'm actually, with Three Houses selling so well, it's made Nintendo realize that then like Fire Emblem is a game that's like a main seller now. So I'm hoping that because of this, they're gonna actually just put a lot more time and effort into the games following Fire Emblem Three Houses, because this game was very successful for all like sake, you know. Like, Awakening was too. It literally saved the franchise, but this game sold better than any other Fire Emblem game in history.
Yeah, I think it's at 3 million sales almost.
Yeah, that's a
lot.
Crazy. Yeah. So I'm hoping this just makes Fire Emblem Heroes actually or Fire Emblem just in general a lot better. I will say like a support system that does work very well, and it has less to do with the dating sim, is Echoes.
Yes, I love that.
in Echoes, the supports like change throughout the story, and there are like certain supports that are locked based on story events, and they're actually a lot more interesting. And the characters in Echoes are just likable in general, even if they are one-dimensional. They're all likable. Whereas like you have characters like in Three Houses, like in my opinion, Hilda. I hate Hilda.
Yeah.
Her entire personality is just like, I'm lazy, I'm racist. Like that's her two personality traits. It's just one of them's 80% and the other one's 20%. You know, like I don't. There's like. It'd be different if she had like much more interesting like conflict. Like they could bring that with her brother, because with the DLC they introduced 3 new characters, and one of the characters knew her brother, and they could have brought like an interesting support with that. But instead, she's pretty much, I'm lazy, I like you, you're cool, and then that's it. You know, like, you know, my brother's disappointed that you left or whatever. You know, like, and it was disappointing.
I'll give you guys full credit. I have not played Echoes, so I will definitely give that a shot after.
No, you
like,
should.
all
Echoes
this.
You make sure you have a 3DS still, but
Oh, dude, I got a drawer full of them, man. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Echoes is quite different. Like it has it's interesting.
There's
it's
dungeon crawling in it.
Games. Yeah, there is.
That's cool.
It's like really honestly what I thought the Fire Emblem times Shin Megami Tensei was going to be, as opposed to Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is what we actually got, where basically when you're dungeon crawling, when you run into a battle, it's not like a Persona-esque battle where it's like turn-based RPG. No, it goes into a full-blown like Fire Emblem grid battle in the dungeon, which is really cool and kind of epic, and I wish that would have been what Tokyo Mirage Sessions actually became.
It's really pretty too. Like the entire game is just beautiful.
It's one of the best 3DS games on the entire console, honestly.
I definitely. Now you guys make me want to check it out. I'm
You
check
need
it out
to.
for sure. I will. I definitely will, man.
And it has time. And you know what? That game actually does a route split very well.
Yeah, it
Good.
does. Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
will give you guys credit. Like that's the one thing that I wasn't like sold on with Three Houses is I wasn't like I don't, especially with Edelgard and her double route. I really wasn't. I don't know. It was all right.
It really shafted Edelgard, especially since, like, again, most of the trailers made her seem like the main character, when in reality, she wasn't really supposed to be a character you can easily go to. She was supposed to be, like, a secret one.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, it seemed like there was a point in each of the different routes where there should have been a split, and there wasn't, except for with Edelgard.
Yeah.
And it feels like the game was supposed to be massive, and it turned out to like, hey, we ran out of time, so cut some of the assets and forget that storyline.
Yeah.
Well, you reused, like, the same 10 maps. It's fine. They won't notice.
And that's where I think the writing, like story-wise, I think you can write a better story when you don't have that many choices.
Oh, okay, completely random. But another problem I have with Three Houses is that they'll be like, oh yeah, we need to get to like we need to go to this village because the people are literally killing themselves. Let's take a month to get there. You know, like let me run around the monastery and fish for the next month. Let me eat lunch 10 times with my students for the next month. Like the disconnect, you know? Like I mean it annoys me.
Yeah. Urgency was a really big issue in that game, like for sure.
I get what they were trying to do. It just like in terms of like gameplay compared to story, it just didn't make sense. It was funny, but
The timeline doesn't make sense. It's like, for example, the Persona games handle the timeline aspect way better in the aspect of there's a reason why the events take place in the timeline that they do versus like, hey, this town's getting decimated, but we don't do fights until the weekend, so you can just do whatever you want Monday to Friday, and then we'll fight them on Saturday or something like that. Like the Three Houses is like paced weird.
Yeah, like if they would have did that calendar system, but then like maybe put the event at like pop up at the end of the month and not just be like, all right guys, like we're gonna train for 6 years to go fight this battle. Like just again, urgency. Like if they would have just took urgency. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think a cool way to do it would have been like that in between time during that month would have been time to like get to that section, you know? Like I don't know, like I know Flane's pretty good at like using the staff, but I don't think she can warp staff people across the continent, you know? like I think all that time could have been a lot more useful if they were like you could actually like set up camp at these like intervals, and that's when you talk to the students, and that's when you ate meals with the students, and that's when you went fishing on like ponds or like visiting villages to buy your supplies.
Yeah.
That was actually one thing I thought Fates did all right at, was the like weird parallel universe world in the sky.
Oh, I hated that. I hated having kids that were my same age that I birthed a month ago.
No, that's not what I meant. I
I
meant like
shoved them in like a little island and they grew up fast
it's
and
like
hated
the
it.
hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z.
It
Anyways,
really is.
what I meant by that was I thought that having that base of operations in the sky was like it kind of threw all logic out the window. So like I didn't care about the urgency as much anymore. And then like it made you feel like the game just made sense in the order it was happening.
Yeah.
Versus Three Houses where there's like this urgency that you're not actually like it's like 911, I'll be there in a month. See ya.
Yeah, like Flame's missing. We need to find her now. I mean, do we though? I need to go fishing and I need to go plant some carrots.
I'm gonna go feed some cats.
Like, I don't know. Like, actually, the Wonder of Flame is the only one that makes the most sense because you can actually stop it right away by finding the location she's actually in. And like otherwise, it could take like up to a month to find somebody that's hidden in the monastery. But
Yeah, honestly, for the amount of editing they would have to do to the old stories, I kind of want more Echoes games because I feel like they were better written back when, and they could just add to those games, make them better. Like,
oh yeah,
there's nothing that I. It's like the prime example of a good remake.
Echoes is beautiful. Now the only problem I have with Echoes is that it's so true to like Gaiden. Like the maps suck. Like
Yeah,
the maps are just awful, and Echoes was just like copy paste, better graphic. And that's
And
like
more in-depth
that's my
story.
yeah, like honestly, that's the only bad thing I have about Echoes is that the maps are the exact same, which is very annoying.
So imagine what Genealogy of the Holy War is going to be like.
Well, but there's difference because like
I just riled you
Echoes,
up, didn't I?
in Echoes, there's like 3 or 4 bow knights that can hit you from 7 spaces away. In Genealogy of the Holy War, you have like 10 cavaliers that are all super duper strong that you can just send into battle and it doesn't freaking matter because Sigurd never dies. Like, I played Echoes, like not Echoes, I played Fire Emblem 4 rather recently and I got everybody killed. I Iron Manned it. But I was like, I'll just reset the game. It's fine. Like the entire, like I'll start from like prologue. And I had to try to get Sigurd killed. Like I had to do what my instinct told me not to do to get him killed. He's just that strong of a unit where you can just send him into enemies and he just kills them all. That's just what nice about Genealogy. Again, it's not the maps that are hard. It's the trading.
Oh yeah. That's something they need to fix. There needs to be like a caravan like we did in the future Fire Emblem games.
Well, that's like I don't know because FE4 is unique because of the trading. Like that's the one unique thing, and plus, like if you count the fact that it was the first game to include the weapon triangle, but FE4 is very unique because the trading system in that game is unique to that game. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd rather want maybe like an easier way. Maybe so much stuff wasn't as expensive as it was. Include vulneraries, please. I cannot have, or like at least give like the healer it's 6 move instead of 5.
Yeah, I played 4 like a decade ago, so I probably need to replay 4 again.
You do. It's really like again, it's not the gameplay that's my favorite, but I don't. It's not bad. It's just if you have to have patience.
Yeah. Billy, would you play 4 if they remade it?
Yeah, wholehearted. I'd replay any of them if they remade it. Honestly, I'm going through now. Besides like the GameCube and the Wii version, like I like the series a lot. I would love to try out like new entries into the series. I still do every chance I get.
If you have a Wii U, it's hackable, and
I got 2 of them, man.
If you can put the GameCube and Wii games in there through less than desirable ways and play them that way.
You should play FE4. It's a really good game.
I'll give it a shot, man. Like I still like going through my older games, so I feel that wholeheartedly.
I think
Play Echoes first though, because it's shorter.
I will. That
great.
one I can. I'm pretty sure I bought like I bought a ton of Fire Emblem games before I left GameStop, or a store I should not mention. But yeah, like I have something. I probably have Echoes somewhere. I'll figure it out.
Yep. So, anyways, anything else you want to say? I think Three Houses like hit it out of the park in regards to marketing and sales. But how Nintendo's going to beat this game, I think they're really gonna have to experiment or put out something that's total nostalgia that'll get the Fire Emblem community like just raging in a good way, not in a bad way. Anything else you guys want to say?
I'm good.
Yeah, nailed it, man.
All right. Well, I want to thank Ryn for hopping on here with us for this week of podcasts.
Thank
And
you for inviting me.
we
You're
definitely want to
awesome.
have you back on. One of the only Fire Emblem channels I watch at this point in time, besides like Mecha. So
Yeah, thank you.
definitely like what you do, and you're Ryn, so we got to watch you. So that's pretty much
Thank
it. And I can't think of what else I was going to say. I had something nice to say, and I didn't say it. If you want to watch the Avatar, watch Billy's video first. He'll convince you not to. And if you want to watch Ryn,
watch the live action. It's fucking hilarious.
but watch Billy's video review
Jesus.
of it first.
I got you. I'll sum up that movie so you don't have to watch
The
it.
only
I got you,
Avatar live action movie review you need. I meant to click on Ryn's channel. I clicked on this. Go subscribe, youtube.com/RYNRYN. And as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Billy.
And I'm Ryn.
And I hope that you guys enjoyed this week. We'll definitely bring Ryn back on the next CHRILLCAST.